High heat thermistor. Hi everybody. So today I'm going to be reviewing a new product from Creality. Most people are familiar with the Creality Spider high temperature hot end, like this one that's actually pictured here. To be honest, it really didn't take off. You could look this up. This is actually the Creality Spider. It actually had the longer heating block and the longer nozzle, which was kind of like in between the MK6 and the MK8 nozzle and a volcano hot end. So it was really long. It was an oddball. Best of my knowledge, you still can't get a hardened nozzle for it. You have to get them direct from Creality. A lot of people had issues with these. One of the biggest issues is this model is longer than any of the hot ends that are on the market for, or most of the hot ends for Creality type printers. Kind of missed ahead on this. They should have designed it to where it fit a little bit lower to where they can direct boat in, but I understand it. They were hoping that maybe other manufacturer printers would be used for this, and it would expand out Creality's market. So I can't fault them, but this model had a lot of issues. So when I saw this, I was like, well, let me take it up. Let me try it out. So now this is a Creality Spider. Let me zoom in real quick. Okay, Spider hot end. They're like, oh great, I'm gonna have the same issues as the other one, but this model is actually the new, if I can get my mouse to work, this is the new edition. So let me expand back out. So if you look at this one, it looks a lot different. They completely redesigned this one. It looks like it still has a larger heat block, but the body of it looks a lot smaller. So this is what this is actually supposed to be. This is a direct unboxing. I haven't seen it yet. I just took it out of the boxing from Amazon. So let's go ahead and peel back this label. So this is going to be a direct unboxing. Well, they really like that little tape on here. So I'm going to peel that tape back. Now, to be honest, I was kind of let down by the size of this, because for 59 bucks plus shipping, it was like $64 for this. You don't get a lot, considering like the hot end box for the hot end assembly for the V2, which is only like 25 bucks, comes in a pretty good sized box. But all right, well, let's just see. All right, ooh, so set that aside. This would be the new Creality hot end. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There you go. So yeah, that's what it looks like in there. So let me try to zoom in a little bit better for you guys. It definitely does not look like the older style. So back to reference, we can go back to the older style. That definitely has changed quite a bit. So I will mark it. It is a nice looking hot end. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this popped open. Now, one thing that I was kind of disappointed with ordering this is this guy was 64 bucks. Now, the old one was about 45 bucks, and it came with a thermistor. This does not come with a thermistor. It just comes with some thermal paste, some tools, and that's that's about it. I don't really see too much. You don't get really much extra in here, which is it's kind of a letdown. But let's hope that this guy is actually everything that this thing was supposed to be promised. So let me pan down a little bit, and we'll do an unboxing of this guy. So looking at it, the biggest complaint that a lot of users had was, again, this is the first time I'm looking at it too, so bear with me. I do like the way this sock is. I mean, it's a really tight fitting sock, so, but that also sucks because you know you're going to be getting this directly from Creality only. So that's another thing that you're going to have to worry about, versus the standard MK socks. You can get like a dozen of them for like 10 bucks. But either way, doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's definitely a nice heat block. Let me zoom in here. I mean, it's a pretty nice looking unit. I mean, substantially looks good. So a comparison is standard V2 versus this, and just looking at it, yeah, I can see they solved the issue of this being too in fact, it may be just a smidge. No, with the nozzle it actually is the same length from what I'm looking at in my angle. So kudos on that. Now I will say Creality sold probably 100,000 of these. You can get these super cheap, and honestly it just looks like a milled down version of that with an extra support. So not really. I mean, yeah, I mean, it looks essentially, well, I mean, that's a little bit redesigned. So okay, I feel a little bit better, because I was like, it looks just like one of these with a nicer heat block and a bimetal heat break. Now, so you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty thick in there. It's a fat boy in there. I will give them that. It is a, it's a big boy. So okay, so you get I don't know if that nozzle, it should, I thought it would come with extra nozzles, but it doesn't even look like it came with an extra nozzle. So that sucks. Oh, to be honest, this is a pricey boy. So I mean, yeah, you get tools and you get a little bit of heat compound, but it didn't even give you an extra nozzle. I mean, you have extra tools, but so I'm really curious to see what's the size of this guy. And of course, they tightened the living shit out of it. So yeah, I'm not gonna be able to untighten that. So I'm hoping, now looking at it, since I do have a Ender 3S1, that looks like a very similar, look, I mean, I'm a Nixon today. I'm also trying to take it apart. It's in there tight. I'm hoping that this guy is a thinner nozzle. Now, I will say, whenever I'm looking at the specs before I ordered it, the V2, yeah, so I thought it came with extra nozzles. No, I guess it just comes with a toolkit. I'm just looking at the website. One of the other trims, so let me look back up here. So looking at the website, that right there looks like a standard size hot end. So that definitely does not look like the volcano style hot end. So feel better about that. And it indicates that it's an M6 nozzle. So if it's an M6 nozzle, and that looks like a standard, the same exact nozzle that they're putting on all their higher end printers, that should work. So I'm going to be slapping this in on my V2 and testing it out. But for right now, this guy looks to be pretty cool. And I shouldn't have any issues with making that work. It should be a direct bolt in. So I will probably be moving that over. Well, no, I have a direct drive now, so I'll probably just squeezing it in here, the PTFE tubing into here, and just excluding that. I've already upgraded to a bimetal heat brake, so my PTF tubing from the direct drive is pretty short. I mean, it's only like that long. So let's see how this goes. All right, thanks for watching. Okay, so for an update with this new CR Spider hot end, from my new finding, I do not know if I would recommend this. So this is made to be a direct bolt in, okay? A lot of people that are trying to install this are wanting it for extra heat, so they're able to put out, 300C safely. So the way they have adopted this mechanism is the instructions state that you take out your heater cartridge and set it, tighten that. But then for your thermistor, they're saying just take your glass bead thermistor out, which is that junky guy, which is screwed in now. It's a glass bead that's screwed in to this heating block. This mechanism, okay, allows for the heat block to have a threaded hole that you can upgrade to a higher end thermistor. This thermistor was running smoothly. If you see in this has got a bimetal heat brake, okay? The only reason why I went with this is kind of just got bored. I have another bimetal, I can take this apart. If you see, I was printing some hips and I was blowing out the nozzles. So it was blowing out between the nozzle. Now that could be two things. It could be that this bimetal heat brake bottomed out further and there was a gap between this and the nozzle, which is 100% positive. Or these are stainless steel nozzles. I bought them bulk from Amazon. The threads may be not uniform between them. So when I did the initial setting of this guy and putting the depth of here and this heating block, I did it with another nozzle. Now that nozzle wore out because I used a lot of carbon fiber high heat polycarbonate. It wore out, so I just threaded out and put a new nozzle in it. This nozzle, one of the nozzles that I put in, it blew out. I was like, oh crap. Took the nozzle out, cleaned it. Now you see that this is still attached to it. Because I knew this guy was on the way, I was like, well, if I'm going to take it apart, might as well wait for the new hotness to come in. But so long story is this guy is rated for 300C and it threads into the same mounting hole that the old thermistor was. So that was nice, and that was a solid connection. What I don't like about this is it uses a simple scrub screw to hold in a glass bead, and I don't know how many of you tear up every time you just look at these damn things wrong, you break that wire. If you change a nozzle and you don't have this tightened, you'll throw a code, you'll mess up that wiring. It makes no sense. So now this is still a PTFE lined one. This is the stock one. This is one that I put the bimetal heat break in, and it was working fine. I mean, I've gotten probably 200 hours of printing on it, and it started doing this crap when I first started using HIPs over the carbon fiber polycarbonate. I mean, hell, it could have just wore clearance into that cheap. I think I only paid like $7 for 2 of those copper titanium bimetal heat breaks. It could have just, it's just junk. But looking at it, it looks bent. So my thinking is I might have over typed these and they kinked it, and because it kinked, there may be a small gap, and then this stuff just blew out. So I mean, it's 100% could be my fault, because you know it's off-centered. This design actually should be all straight line, so you should be able to tighten those down, and that should work. But again, I've got a nice, I've already PED tested that. I mean, this is working great. And I bought it because it's supposed to be an M3 screw. I didn't know it was an M3 hole. I was looking at the specs and I was like, oh, hell yeah, I can just go ahead and mount this and be on my way. But now I have a production printer that is still down because this is using a half-ass design, because a grub screw to hold in a glass bead, even this is a more sound solution. So at least you know you're tightening it. It can't go anywhere. You're going to tell me you're going to trust something to go into here all the way. Now, I've already bottomed this guy out all the way, and then you're going to tighten down on it. And if you look at it, I mean, you're only having the very end of it. That grub screw's out of it. I've already taken it out. I mean, that's just, that's not a good design. I get why they're doing it, is because the S1, the S1 Pro, they have cartridge style. But if you're trying to do a direct swap on existing Ender 3s, you're not going to do a little dinky cartridge style. Because I was happy to go with this, because if that thermistor went bad, this has actually got a breakout plug right here. I can actually unplug it and just change my thermistor when it goes bad. I like that. I do not like that I'm gonna have to go to a cartridge style just so I can get this stupid damn thing to connect onto my printer. That's just not a good design. Now, mounting up, it looks like it's going to mount up just fine. It looks like it's going to mount up with the same holes. I mean, yeah, it looks like it's going to mount up the same holes. And I would already hit the ground running, and I'd already have, you know, my printers in place. I mean, I was planning on making this a quick video because it looked pretty straightforward. It looked like a quick swap. It looked like I could just, you know, change it really easily, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get away with that. But mounting up the same, yeah. But that right there is not, they at least included a thermistor with the old style. The new style is $10 more, and they can't include a 50-cent thermistor. I mean, that is just ridiculous. I really think that they could easily, let me move this over. They could easily included that. So again, I don't know why they did it. It makes no sense to me. I apologize, the phone's moving a lot. That was a deal breaker for me. That right there was a simple design, very common with all the other hot ends, and you just couldn't keep that same couldn't keep that same design. So now I am going to have this printer, which I had in my enclosure. This was printing nonstop carbon fiber polycarbonate. This thing was just kicking ass. And until I decide, oh, I'm gonna run some hips through it, then I started having the blowout issue. And it could have been a number of other issues that caused that, but I didn't have any problems until then. It's been printing carbon fiber polycarbonate just fine with just a $7 cheapo Amazon special. It was a 2-pack of bimetal heat break, and it worked fine with the stock hot end. This was another hot end from another printer, and like I said, even that right there is a better idea than getting your instructions and telling me that I need to. So this is all it comes with. It comes with like hardly any instructions at all. It's mostly in Chinese, and this is where like it's telling you to take the glass bead, put some compound on it, and just send her on way. When installing glass bead probe thermistor, it is necessary to apply thermal paste to the surface of the glass ball probe for better heat conduction, as simple as shown. I mean, you're going to put it all the way in the hole and then crush it with a grub screw. That sounds like really awesome. Or you could have just included a thermistor like you did with the other hot end, and I've already would have had this together and rocking. The only problem with that is you guys wanted to sell your custom nozzles, and now you made it to where it fits. It fits fine. You can use both hot ends exclusively. So you can use both hot ends. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. It bolts up the same. But you can't use, I can't use a simple, I cannot use an upgraded common standard high heat thermistor. That just doesn't make any sense. So for that, I haven't printed with it. Looks like I'm gonna have to order a thermistor on top of this $64 hot end. Take my printer down for a little bit longer and wait for a thermistor that will work, because I'm not going to put a glass bead in it because they're just not reliable, and you don't really have glass bead thermistors rated for 300 degrees. I haven't found any. Most of them will go to this style or a cartridge style, so I'm probably going to have to order a cartridge style one and throw it in there and splice into here again, cut my connector off, and I think this thing's only got maybe 20 hours on it. This is fairly new, so it is what it is.